Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Maryland Apex Accelerator webinar today. Glad you could join us. I'm your host, Yasmin Razak, and I'm the Marketing and Training Coordinator here. Today's topic is Secrets of Contracting with the State of Maryland, and it is led by Keisha Foster, who is the founder and CEO of Key to Life Professional Services, LLC. We'll get started very shortly, and you will be able to ask Keisha your questions by typing them in the chat box on the screen. This session will be interactive, so I hope you'll be able to join in. And obviously, we will be doing Q&A throughout the presentation. And as always, this session is recorded and a copy of the slides will be sent to you after the presentation. For those of you not familiar with the Maryland Apex Accelerator, it's our mission to help Maryland businesses to compete in federal, state, and local government procurement processes. Our services are no cost to you. So if you'd like to speak with a counselor, please register on our website, marylandapex.org. Okay, good morning, Keisha. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Yasmin. Good morning, everyone. Get excited, get excited. We're in the new year. So we want to start the year off right with a good training, helping you all to navigate the secrets, because the secrets to navigating in government contract is learning how to play the game. You remember, I'm always saying, I am so excited about this session. So this training session would equip you with the tools and strategies to succeed in Maryland State Contracting Marketplace. Now, if you're coming here and you're looking for a different state, this is for the Maryland, but it's the same concept. So take what you get. If you're Indiana or Alabama or anyone, just take the principles and then apply it for your state, understanding that there are different rules when it's a different state. Okay, so because this is an interactive training session today, let me give you a little deep dive into what I mean. So we're going to have the hands-on practice. So what I'm going to be doing is navigating you through key websites together so you can understand these websites, how to look at these websites, what you're looking for in these websites, okay? And then bookmark them. Make sure you bookmark these websites that we're talking about, because you're going to be using them reoccurring all the time. So we definitely want that. All right. Then, like I said, we're going to give you the, we're going to be going over the eMaryland Marketplace. So that's the eMaryland Marketplace Advantage, and we call it EMMA. Okay. And then the agency procurement pages, I'm going to walk you through those pages. And then we're going to talk about the certification portals. All right. Now, feel free to ask your questions as we go through. I'm going to be focusing on the sessions, but when I break, I will definitely take the questions as we go. So that way it's going to be an interactive. All right. And that way you're more engaged. And then the guided exercise. So I want you to understand the importance of this training. It's not just to attend the training, it's to apply the principles once you learn in the training. So I believe in once you learn it, put it in place, practice it, then process improvement, then you approve it. But right now, most of my small business do not even have anything in place. So that's why this training is important for you, so you can get something in place. So I'm going to teach you how to build that pipeline, and then all you have to do is maintain it. So when you get off this session, you should be able to do that. Now, what we'll cover, once we're going through those websites, we're going to talk about tools that's critical for finding and winning those contracts. Then we're going to be discussing how to identify those agencies that align with your offering. Oh, I just got on it talking about, but I'm your instructor, Keisha. I didn't start already in the training. I was so excited. So president and CEO, I've been doing it 22 plus. I'm a GovCon coach for some federal, proposal consultant for J Solution, former contracting officer, former Apex Accelerator counselor. And then I've helped clients win over $1 million. And then I recently retired from the Army as a sergeant major. I was a command sergeant major, but I decided it was time to go. So now let's get back to the agenda. Okay. So then what I'll need from you is just participate. If you have those questions, just bring them up, because that way I'll have them in the chat. So as we keep improving our training, that way we can make sure we have a frequently asked questions. We could probably add that in a slide. So that way these questions are, because you don't know what you don't know. So that's why it's important that we keep building our repository and improving our training. And then, so what we're going to be talking about in our agenda today, we're going to identify the state agencies that buy what you sell. Then we're going to conduct some market research. You know, I'm always talking about conducting market research, because many times we build a product in a box, nobody's going to buy it, then we give up. No, go see what they're buying and see how close your service aligns. And if it does align, or if it doesn't align, then you need to modify it. You need to give the customer what they're asking for. Then we're going to look at the procurement forecast for the state of Maryland. And then you need to understand the Code of Maryland's regulations. It's just like the FAR, the Federal Acquisition Regulations for federal. So state has theirs as well. So if, like I was saying earlier, if it's not, the state of Maryland is not yours, then you need to also understand the rules for that state, because it's all different. And then understand how to use the internet to research those contracting opportunities effectively, and then obtaining those certifications, the SBR, the VSBE, and the DBE and MBE. And then, you know, we're going to have our questions. So let's do a quick poll so I can find out who's in our audience. How familiar are you with the e-Maryland Marketplace? I'll give you a few minutes for that. Okay, so, well, only a few of you have never used it before, and about 5% of you have never used it before. It was like 14% of you heard of it but never used it before, and then 62% of you just need a little bit more practice, and that's what we're here for, to give you that practice. And then just 19%, well, 62% of you need a more practice, and then 19% use it regularly and feel confident with navigating. But so to me, that means you're here for the secrets like tips for navigating the system effectively, then strategies to stand out and put in competitive solicitations, knowing what to go after. So to me, that means that's why you're here today. And you're looking for the tools to identify and win the right opportunities. So I'm glad you joined today, because that's what we're here to do for you, to give you what you need to be successful. Next slide. Okay, so now identifying those state agencies. Now this is a key step. And so I didn't have to keep the websites didn't go down and all those different things. What I did was I already opened up all of the links. Then I included the links in the notes section, just in case you get the slides and it's not working. So you'll see the link in the notes section, so that way you can navigate to these websites, learn these websites, become very familiar with these websites, because these are the websites it takes. So we're going to start off with the Maryland State Agency Directory, and I've put the link enclosed. So I've already opened up everything for us so we can hit the ground running. So what the Maryland State Agency Directory is a list of all the different agencies, right? So you take your time, you go through. So say you want to work with Anne Arundel County, then you go to their website. You know, all the different information you need is on this website. So this is one of your websites that you want to favorite. You want to bookmark it. And then once you bookmark your website, then you want to have a folder where you keep nothing but your state opportunities. So you'll go in there and bookmark all the state opportunities. You'll bookmark everything you need to know about the Maryland department. So if we click on you see it's going to take you here, and you're going to have to learn to navigate, because they've changed it again. And so that's why I always tell our attendees, they're always going to change it, but the basic portal is the same. As long as you have the portal, you have to learn to go in and maneuver it and look for the different things that's out there for you in the websites. Just looking to see what they have available, upcoming events or anything. Because I'm always saying, look at the upcoming events so you can possibly meet procurement officers. You can meet different people in different agencies that you choose to work for, because you want to know who you're working with, right? So that's why you always want to check out the websites, get familiar with the agencies that you decide you want to work with, and so on. And we'll be having a training in the future for how to go over those county and city opportunities. But this one right now, we're just going to talk about the state. And I just want to show you where all the research, all of the things are. So let me close that website. Let me go back to that. So that is one of our state agencies where you're going to get that information. Now you're going to review each agency's mission statement and strategic plan. So when I go back to that one, we're going to do the Maryland Transportation Authority. So when you go on the Maryland Transportation Authority, you know you're going to navigate. So now say this is one of the agencies that you've identified that you want to keep in touch with, and you want to always be, you want to always track all the different things that's going to come up with this one. So then you're going to go over here in the About section. All right. It's going to have all those different things you need right here. They have the strategic plans right here if you want to learn a little bit more about it. If you want to know what their mission is, what their values and what their goals is, and what they're trying to do with this agency, all that information is right there. And then you document it in your accounts management system. Well, the accounts management system is where you document all of the agencies or prime contractors or what's the accounts that you plan to track or to keep in touch with, where you're going to be building your relationships and all those things. So this is important. If you decide, okay, I want to do Maryland Transportation Authority, then you know you want to create an account for that. I call them accounts because it could, like I said, it could be a prime account. It could be one of your subcontractor accounts. It could be whatever. So that's why it's important to understand the different things. They have the organizational charts on there. They have so many, it's just a wealth of information. But because of the time constraints, I can't go to everything, but the recording will have everything on there for you to get you started. The goal is to give you a basic overview, get you started so you can be running in the right direction. So when you get in your counseling sessions, then that's when you get those individualized, customized questions answered by your counselor. These classes to get you pointed in the right direction. And then if you want to stay, put your email address in and then subscribe. So that way you can stay abreast to what's going on with them. All right. So now, where is the money being spent? I put a link. So like I said, if the links doesn't work in your slides, they're in the notes section. So I want you to focus on getting the training so you know how to utilize the training. So then where is the money being spent? So Maryland put together, okay, I'm gonna close that one. The Maryland Transportation Portal. Okay, this is so welcome to the Maryland Transportation Portal. This is a public website. Always look for your public or official websites with the information, because they have a lot of scams out there. A lot of people going to the wrong accounts and going to the wrong information. So make sure you always looking for the official websites, the govs, you know, and the mills and, you know, the orgs and those different things. Don't use, and sometimes we have to use the comms, but you still want to verify. Okay, and this which allows citizens of Maryland and visitors to search and view summary information about state operating budget. You know, we always want to know the budget. Okay, what money do they have? Are they spending money at this agency? Are they spending money at that agency? Talking about your grants and loans. But what we're focusing on right now is the state operating budget for contracts, because we're looking to see if they, and all you do is navigate down. They're giving you what the breakdown is for FY, and you just can keep, I believe it'll let you change the category, but I'm not sure. You just got to play around with it and see what they're asking you to do, because they change it often. And then you just click on the category that you're looking for. If it's health, the elementary and secondary education, if you're in the education, if you're in the transportation, public, you know, the human services, the public, and other. So that's why I say you can probably click on it. You got to learn these websites and see what they are for, right? And that way you can know. So if we're looking for some information, you just keep scrolling down and figure out, and here's the vendor payments. And I believe you can click on it. It's going to navigate you to the vendor information. It's just little snapshots. And then for like the Maryland Department of Health, and you want to dive a little deeper. So those was approved. And then you just see, you probably can click on it one more time. Let's click on it one more time so we can see the vendors who receive the payments. So there you go. There's the ledger right there telling you who's receiving the payment. So you can see, say you are a subcontractor looking for an prime that you want to prime for, and you want to prime for people at the agency that you're looking for. What was that? The Maryland Department of Health. And these are the people who have won opportunities with the Maryland Department of Health. And then maybe you can go work with them if they have some different solicitations or opportunities coming up. So it's just different ways for you to go in to learn where the information is, who's doing business in this area. Are they winning anything, or are they issuing out any awards, or are they, it's not but 1 or 2 or 3 awards, so there's no opportunity there. So this is what this is for. And you see they have the export button, so you can export these things. But go check out these websites, learn how to use them, build your little continuity book. I believe in building a continuity book for everything, a book that shows me, so because you know you're going to forget. If you're not doing it every day, you'll forget. Do you some little screenshots, put your screenshots in your book. Okay, step 1, go to this website. So basically what you're building is your checklist to how you're going to navigate the state of Maryland. So step 1, I need to go review the budget. And then once you do that, you check that off. Step 2, I need to go look at the next opportunity, or I need to go visit the agencies and build my accounts profile. So those are some of the things you have to do when you are going through making your processes, because that's the secret. The secret is you got to get in quick, you got to learn quick, and you got to be able to apply it. So the application, because too many times we get paralysis. Okay, I don't know what to do, so I don't do anything. No, just start. Just start. You can tweak it. You can do everything else later, but just get started. And I believe they do have a drop down here. Oh, good. They do have a drop down so you can look at previous, because, you know, I'm always looking back 3 years so I can see, okay, different things. Okay, so it's, you know, looking for the trends, if you will, because, you know, we're always looking for those trends. All right, the next thing. And then I'm going to stop and take a quick break before I move to the next slide. Make sure you examine those past contract awards. I'll show you that when we get to Emma. And then match your goods and services with the agency's procurement needs. That is so important. Match it with the agency's need. And at that point, before I go to the next slide, I'm going to make sure I didn't have any questions while I was going through anything. Yasmin, do we have any questions?
No, not yet. I'd just like to welcome everybody who's joined us since we started, and to let you know that you can type out your questions in the chat.
Okay, well, thank you. Okay, so the need to know agency websites. So make sure you use the official state agency websites for the research, because we're going to be going over the Office of State Procurement. We're going to do the Department of Information Technology, State Highways Administration, University System of Maryland. So if you in the university want to work in the university ecosystem, and then the health procurement. So everyone have their own systems. Although we use Emma, they have their websites. That's where you're going to get all the wealth of the information. So that's why it's important that you understand these websites. So let's close those out because we're moving to the next one. All right. So the this is the Office of State Procurement. And they were established around October 1, 2019. And the primary purpose of this is just to make sure transparency, that the vendors and business owners have understand what's going on, what they should be looking for, and how to find the information. Because many times we hear from our small business, oh, I can't find anyone. I can't find the information that I need to get a POC or contact. So make sure you go to these websites, understand the vision and mission. So you always go in and look and see what their vision and mission is. Then you can see they have an organizational chart, and then they have the directory. Sometimes you're trying to get a hold to someone, you just click on the directory, and then maybe you can get a hold to someone. And there's different agencies, different POCs in here that you can reach out to, but do not reach out to people if you don't have a reason for reaching out. You haven't found an opportunity, because they don't have time for that. That's what this training is for, is to learn how to do business with these agencies. Prepare yourself and then introduce yourself to these agencies. After maybe you found a procurement opportunity, you want to find out something about the GPC, the government purchase card holder, process and procedures. That's what these trainings are for. But then once you've got all that, you have a service to provide these agencies and these people, then you reach out, because you don't want them to not answer your call. You want them to know that you're calling for a reason. So that's what I would say. All right, so next we're going to go. So that's the Office of State Procurement. And you always visit all the different things they have on here. And then you can always just click on for vendors to see what they have for you for the vendors. And you see they have a lot of information out here. They were doing a state Maryland disparity study. So if you want to learn more about that, you click on that. And then it takes you to the eMaryland Marketplace bid board, because there's different ways to get this information. You just have to be able to navigate to it. Then we're going to talk about the Small Business Reserve Program, the self-certifying. That take a day. That one's very easy to do. You just click in there and tell them that they're going to ask you a few questions and that. Now, the minority business enterprise, that's going to be a little more information, because they want to know about your financials, everything. The veteran-owned business enterprise was just a 3-step. That one was pretty easy, because all you had to show them was your DD 214. If you're a veteran, you'll know what that is. A DD 4, that's your release from the active duty and different things of that nature. So, and that one was fairly easy to get as well. Now they're hosting a lot of webinar series. So I always recommend that you go check out the training, because if you want to be specific in a certain area and you need to learn about something, please go to these series, because they give a wealth of information. And it, just like they had the one previously just passed, was also talking about selling your services to the state of Maryland as well. And they had a different spin on theirs. They could have gave you more information on the in-person workshops and certifications and stuff like that, which we will not be discussing in this session, because this session is more for the tutorial and teaching you how to utilize the systems and so forth. And theirs is more informational. And you can keep up with the calendars right here. Registration is open for January, so you can go there and go ahead and register. So that's why I always say, if you want to know anything, it's all on the websites now. It's the virtual place where you can get everything that you need and find out how to fill out slides, how to do different, if you're trying to go to the VSBE, or if you're trying to do the SBI, the SBR. So they have all this information out here for you, and it tells you exactly what you need. And then they have a YouTube channels, so you can stay connected. And you just keep, and then they do post the web decks sometimes. So you just click on there and you should download the web decks, because you can go back, because we love to have our PowerPoint, because it tells you how to do things and you can get to those things quicker. And you just see they have all these wealth of information out here for you. So you see the MBE program, the CIBR program, and the VSBE program. So everything's on here. Okay, so I'm going to close that out. The next one is the Department of Information Technology. These are statewide contracts. Now, why did I say that? These agencies you need to know. So first of all, you need to know these agency contracts because according to the COMAR, as a procurement person, they have to use certain contracts first before they can come out there to you. So it's important that you understand that these contracts are for you right here. If you got your past performance and you feel like you're ready and you want to get on these contracts, the information is here for you. Now, go to the frequently asked questions because they don't put it out there all the time. They'll let you know. That's why I tell you keep up with these websites, because they'll let you know when they're taking master contracts, because they're building their master contracts. So you need to know which master contracts are out there. And this one is for the Department of Information Technology. So they have the frequently asked questions. They have the bid board. Then you can review how these contracts and what they look like. They're giving you all this information out here so you can look at. And if you want to do vendor meeting requests, it tells you about the procurement opportunities, information on how to do business with the state. And they just put that one out there. And you click on this information. So when you click on it, it's going to tell you how to do business with the Department of Information Technology. And then how to become, because you clicked on it, now you see if you're interested in doing business with the state of Maryland, then they're telling you what you have to do. You need to be registered with the state, right? And then you have to be in good standing. Too many times I've seen the clients come in and they're not in good standing. Well, you can't do business with the government if you're not in good standing. You have to be in good standing, and that's an annual requirement. Every year you have to do that. Annual requirement. And I've seen people, they didn't know, they just did one and done. No, it's an annual requirement. Even with your certifications, you have to renew them annually. I believe it's the SBR is annually, and I believe the VBE, it could be annual or 3 years. They keep changing it. So you always check the regulations to make sure that you know which one it is. And then you click on these links right here. So if you want and you're interested in becoming a master contract, get on the master contract, then you click on this one. And then you click on this one if you want to become the COTS master. And then that way you can get all of the information that you need for them. So if I clicked on this one, and it's telling you how to do it, but you see right now it's not live because they're not taking anyone, right? So when it's live, they'll be taking him, because I believe they just did it last year. If I'm not mistaken, it was recompeted last year. I'm not sure. But because there's so many different things and you always check all your links. You check all the information to find out. And I believe they put the master contractors right here. Let's check it. Let's see if it's going to work. Okay, yes, they are. They are still putting it right up here for you. So you could see it's 858 master contractors on there. And you can be one of those contractors on here, but you have to learn the rules of the game. And then you have to figure out how you get on there, or is it time to get on there yet? So then you can just review those different informations right there. Okay, so I'm gonna close that one out. Now we're gonna move to the next one. The Maryland Department of Transportation State Highway Administration. Same thing. If you want to learn about their projects, different things that's coming up, you click on their projects. Everything for business, they have it right here for you. You have to be familiar with, and you see why we tell you have to learn these websites, because it's a wealth of information. It's overwhelming. It is so overwhelming. And for us to be able to talk about everything in one session is not feasible. And that's why it's important for you to learn the different websites out there. And then if you are in construction, then to go to construction. If you're in IT, you go to the IT, and that's where you focus. You learn about all the agencies in that. In the offices that you're going to work with, who's the POCs, get the staff directory, find about the annual reports, find out about past contracts, and we're going to go over that shortly. And that's for This one. So then you always know which ones you're gonna, so let me close because I don't want to run out of time. So let me just keep going. All right. So now say you want to work in the universities, they have their own website. So that's why we had to go through and break down each of these websites so you can see the different websites. And then you see right here all the different institutes, USM, Bowie State, Copland State University. You know, it's several out here. And what you do is find out, do they have any opportunities out there? And that's when you're going to look, you've identified, but go do the historical first. So you're not out there just spinning your wheels. And Bowie State never does any opportunities. They basically do one and done, or sometimes every now and then they put out some opportunities. So that's why it's important that you go to these websites, set up for the subscription services, learn the different things out there for you. And then what I wanted to cover too about the I gotta go back because I went prematurely. I wanted to show you these websites, but I wanted to make sure. Oh, okay, I got it. Okay. I apologize. Okay, now we go. Okay, and then the Maryland Department of Health Procurements, and then they have theirs on here as well. You'll see they have some awarded contracts. They have the procurement opportunities, and then small business procurement. So you just click on each of the tabs and you'll see all the information recent. They'll tell you recent past procurements. And so you'll know what they're actually buying out there. And you can take your time and go through this, especially for the health, all my nurses and all my different ones out there. The nursing opportunities are out there for you, or anything dealing with the healthcare facility. Now let me click back up because I want to show you the last thing. Okay. And then I believe they have the awarded ones right here. Oh no, they're still trying to put it on there. So that's why I always tell you, check out the websites, make sure they haven't put it out there yet. And then let's see what they have under the small business procurements. That one's still under construction. So they must be doing some work and changing everything to make it more user-friendly for all the small businesses. Okay, so those are the websites, the official state websites. And as you find more, you just put them down in the notes section. You just keep building your repository because it's a living document, because things change, things go away, things come, new offices get started all the time. But you want to be aware of the main agency websites. Now we got to get to Emma and how to use Emma. How are we going to search for those opportunities with those different agencies? We're going to use keywords, commodity codes. We're going to review the historical, public contracts. Then say you're looking for a teaming partner. And so you want to go to the vendor search. And then it is very critical that you set up your alerts for opportunities. You want them to come to your inbox. So if you registered in Emma, then you will get those alerts coming into your inbox. So let's go to Emma. So now we have the Emma. So you see we have 3 tabs. You can either register if you're not registered, do your vendor search, your public solicitations, and then your public contracts. Well, first we're going to start off with our public contracts. I've seen so many people try to use keywords. Keywords, I mean, it's good to use, but it really doesn't work all the time. So say if you wanted to look up ICE or something like that, it's not very user friendly to me. So that's the reason why I always stick with, because you see, you still got a lot of other opportunities that you got to look at. It hasn't did anything. It hasn't sorted it out or anything. So that's why I don't recommend that you use keywords. I recommend that you use the commodity codes. These commodity codes, so you open up the commodity codes, and you have to take your time and find out which codes are for you. Okay, so if you keep going down, you're going to look for, so if you're laboratory, measuring and observing and testing equipment, medical equipment, I mean, you do it one time and then you know all of your codes and you don't have to do it again. But you need to understand your codes so you'll know what all of the categories they are listing the opportunities under on the public contracts, because many times you're searching for custodial services, but they got it as cleaning services or whatever. You need to know how they are searching for these services and then use those same keywords. Those are the keywords you want to use. So say you're doing the drug and pharmaceutical products. So I've seen too many times you just click this button right here when you're looking for these opportunities. However, you can't just do that. Commodity codes, you have to go. You see how none of the other things came in. So say the contracting or the procurement officers, because state called them procurement officers, federal called them contracting officers. So know that when you're dealing with state, sometimes you'll hear the procurement officers. It's the same thing. And so you see how it did even do the so say you had they had a labeled it anti-infective drugs. So well, guess what? It didn't populate on your search because you didn't click it. So you click that because that's one of your services. But then I know the systems it makes you do a lot of extra work, but it's just the first time when you're setting up your account. So say you did antibiotics. Well, guess what? That wasn't clicked either. So you have to go through each drop down to see how they're categorizing, because you have the parent and then the child, so you always got all the parent one, the drug and pharmaceutical, but then there's things up under there. So, and then the antibiotics, and then which antibiotic. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to go in and drill all the way down to get the information, because these are the key words. Remember, we're looking for the key words because we're going to add them on our capability statement. We're going to add them in our past performance write-ups. There's so many things you need to add these keywords in when you are building, because that's the reason why we're doing the research, right? We're finding the research so we can know what they're calling everything. Okay, so that's one example. Now, say we decide we have the pharmaceuticals, but we also do business. So let's find, here go healthcare services, or you're doing education and training services. So, but you see why I say what I say. So same thing. We want healthcare services. It didn't do anything else. Are we doing comprehensive healthcare service? Are we doing disease prevention and control? So go through, take the time, get your keywords. You won't have to do it again. Put it all on a Word document so you can copy, paste, put it in Google. You can do everything. Everything needs to be in a Word or Google Doc, because when you don't want to have to keep doing things over and over again. You want to did your market research on your commodity codes. Commodity codes are just like, it's your service code, just like the PSC code, the product service code for federal. We use the product service code for federal. And then sometimes, or they'll say the commodity codes is almost like the NAICS code, it's your industry or whatever. But I liken it to the PSC code, the product service code, because it talks about a service. I'm doing furniture and furnishing. I'm doing humanitarian relief. It's the service that I'm providing. So that's why I say that. And you decided you're doing healthcare center, but you see how they got the healthcare centers. But then look at that. You got either emergency and surgical hospital services. Well, you ain't in healthcare center, so why would you even check that? You understand what I'm saying? So you check what applies to you only. That's what's key. You want to check what applies to you only. And so that's why I said, go down, narrow down the codes, get all your codes out, and then you see what I'm talking about, or medical office services. And then you know that's not one of yours, but you want to get the healthcare services, but it's not in that area, but it's in disease prevention and control. Then you go down and get disease prevention and control. And if you're dealing with contagious diseases, prevention, so forth and so on. So you get the point by me using different examples, that if you have different services, you have to go in and check them all. Make sure you check the other. Make sure if you're doing any kind of training, you go see what kind of training they're talking about. Because if you're a trainer as well as a provider, you want to know what training is out there. So then you have the vocational training. If you're not a vocational, we're not selecting that. Well, maybe you just want to do specialized education training, but then you want to go see if they've purchased that before. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why it's important to keep checking out these different tabs so you can see what they're talking about when they say specialized. So right here, they said the fine arts, Then if you're doing driving and flying and selling, so they're telling you, well, maybe you do management, education, and training. Okay. And you just keep diving down. And then it's telling you specialized schools for people with disabilities. So say you have a service that you specialize for schools for people with disabilities, then you want to check that. And then the final one is this education support services. So maybe yours doesn't fall in that. Or maybe you do curriculum development, then you want to click that. So, and then you're going to use that same word, curriculum development service. That is what you're going to put. Now, this is all for state, because like I told you, when you go do your market research on sam.gov, the system award for federal, they're going to call it something different. So you want to know what are the keywords, use those same keywords to build those capability statements, so that way y'all speaking the same language, apples to apples, oranges to orange, and not you saying apples and they saying oranges, and no one's, and then you wonder why none of the search is coming up, because you didn't use the keyword for that state and how they're doing their requirements. So that's enough on that because we still have a lot more to go. And then, so now that we have talked about the category selection, so making sure you understand, we done clicked it, and then you would just hit search. You see how everything populated in the filter. Well, maybe, I don't even want to just stop there. I want to look at the type, of opportunity. And see, what you do is you build your checklist, right? You build your standard operating procedures, because maybe you're not doing this. Maybe you're not the BD person, the business development person going out there finding the opportunities and stuff. Well, give them the keys, right? Tell them how to do it so they know it, because not everyone knows how to navigate these systems effectively. And so because I'm VBE, all I'm going after is veteran goals. Or maybe you MBE and all you want to go, or you want to do both. You want to do the SBR designation and the the VSB goals. So you see how it all populates in there. And then let's see what else information they let us go. They said state community colleges, say you only want the colleges, local government, municipals, state government, universities. So we went over all of those websites. So that way you can have that information so you know what's all available, and then you would just hit search. So once we hit the search button, then it's going to come, well, no results because we defined it too much. So that's why I say sometimes, but that's for VBE because I put those in. Then you could just take out different things to see if the search will come back with some more, because they have more SBR. So you see the main category, health services, their healthcare services. And then to look at one of the opportunities in here, let's do COVID testing. So this one was a COVID-19 testing services. They're telling you it's a request for quote. Then the issuing agency is Department of Health, Hospitals and Treatment Centers. They're giving you the procurement officer / buyer's information. And then you see the solicitation summary. Now you see there was a pre-bid conference for this. I recommend that you attend those pre-bid conferences. You have to learn about these organizations and agencies, and what better way if it's something that you would like to pursue, or maybe you missed it, or you're not a prime contractor and you want to go after it as a sub. You want to go see who's the prime in this opportunity, and then sell your services to the prime. And that way you're meeting the agency and the primes at the same time. And it's important that you and then so that's why I say you have to document it. You have to have a way to document all of this information that you're gleaning, that you're analyzing in a format. And we'll talk about that next, because that's going to be probably in the second half, because we have a lot we're covering. So that'll be in the second half when we come back from our 5-minute break, because I always want to give you a quick minute, go get you something to drink, refresh yourself, and then come on back. All right. And you see the designation. This one was a small business reserve. So that's why I said, if you set everything up, you know what you're looking for. And many times they always ask, what is lot 1 and lot 2? Well, that's just in terms, it's almost like in federal the same thing, but it's just, okay, this is the first time it came out. The second time if it say 2, that means there's been amendment or some kind of modification. Something happened, they had to change it. And then 3, because they had to change it again. 4, they had to change it again. So it's just keeping up with how many times they're having to make amendments to it. So basically that's what that is. And then of course you want them to keep up with the IDs, because you need to know when you're putting it on your pipeline, if this is one of the opportunities that you've chosen to go out, you need to be able to keep up with it. Okay, that you have the ID name and then the title. So it's basically the same thing when you're going after these opportunities. Okay, so now I want to see if they've done the COVID-19 testing services. Then that's when you go. So you didn't identify all of the different opportunities you wanted to go. You added them to your profile, boom. So now let's look at the public contracts. Let's see if that's been out there before. That's when you're going to just dive over to the public contracts, and you're going to do the same thing. You already did the part label. You already got your codes. You save them in a Word document. You drop it in here, boom, hit search, right? We're always looking for ways to go through and look at sourcing stuff quickly. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Or you might just have to go through them individually and look. But in the case, so just for the class, I want to just put this in here. I'm going to put this one open. So then you see they've telling you the contract title, who won the vendor, the contract type, it was an individual contract, the contract amount, and then the procurement officer / buyer and their email address. And then they're just telling you if it was a VSBE, no, this one wasn't. And they're just giving you the information, which organization it was, Anne Arundel County Schools, and then their commodities code. Remember I told you those, because you see they didn't put the code right here. They didn't put the 100000. They put the keywords. So that's why I like to keep the keywords in my document of the keywords I'm going, so I'll know which one that is. Okay, so they was doing 10001. They did that 7 times. They did the keyword 200002. But you see, and that's the reason why learning how to look the data and synthesize and analyze the data is important, because you'll get through it quicker. And because when it's hard for us to do something, we'll procrastinate, we'll put it off, we won't touch it, we won't even think about it because it's just too hard. But when you make this thing so easy and so seamless, and you understand how to put the pieces together, then you're able to be competitive. You're able to win more contracts. You're able to get more done quickly. And that way, and then hire on a team in part, a virtual assistant or a BD assistant or someone that can find the leads for you, get all the data together, and then you go through it. It's however you want to do it. So say you only got 5 hours, but you got to put a system together. Because if you expect them to put that system together, you're going to be waiting, and you're going to be having them sitting on the clock, not doing anything. No, you put the systems in place for them, and then they can just make it better. But you put it in place so they know what they're doing, so they hit the ground running, getting you the data you need so you can make informed decisions. So that's why we use the contract. But oh, by the way, I was looking at this solicitation. We're going to go back to this one. We're going to use this one. And I could not do this one by myself. So now I need a team and partner. So also what I failed to see, now you see this one is a round 2. That means they made amendment. They did some kind of modification. So that was good to see. And they did a modification. So let's go down here and look at all the attachments. You see, and then they put all the attachments in here. So that's good for you to know. Go through all the attachments. They put everything in here for you. Oh, but why? Now I need to go to the vendor search because I need a team and partner, because I can't do this one all alone. So that's when you have the vendor search. Okay, so this is where but this requirement needed a VSBE, right? The veteran. So, but it was a 5% goal. So that's why I always say, know the different things. So then you just look for the company. I'll just put mine in there, so that way you can understand what I'm talking about. and you see the company, all the information pops up, and then you reach out to that person. Oh, like, oh, they got the SBR certification and the VBS. So I can send them an email asking them, would they like to schedule a meeting? But if you're going to reach out to people, please don't just send out there a blanket email saying, hey, I want to go after this opportunity. You got to go out there prepared. Send them the NDA, send them just a little blurb on what it is you're trying to discuss and that you're looking to go after a potential opportunity, that you're vetted, you're vested, you have a POC, and we just want to know if we're a good fit. Please do not come out not being ready. Because so many people come in here and spam the vendors in here, and then now people are not answering emails because you're spamming all the vendors. So be careful with that. Do not do that. But this is how you go. So that is how you put it all together when you're going after these different opportunities. So that way you can know, okay, I know how to utilize the public solicitation, and I'm looking for now let me bounce over here to see if the contract. So now you done built your checklist. Okay, the first thing I need to do, step one, public solicitation. What opportunities out there? Oh, I found 2. Boom. Now let's go review. Step 3, we're going to look at the public contracts to see have they done this before. Okay. Step 4, oh, I need a teaming partner. I don't want to be the prime. I want to be a sub. Now I'm going to go to the vendor search. This is how you put the pieces together. Those are the secrets to winning in government contract. And too many times, analysis paralysis. So just put it together, refine it as you go. And then you'll see, oh, I didn't like that step. I need to add another step. Or I missed this step. Oh, I didn't send an email to this person. And then on the checklist, make sure you put those dates. Make sure you keep up with your dates. You don't want your certifications to expire. So on that checklist, you add, okay, I need to recertify, and then put it on your calendar. If it doesn't make it to your calendar, it doesn't get done. I time block everything. Everything is on my calendar with color codes, everything. So I know when I look at it, oh, I got 3 admin tasks I got to do. I got 4 client work I got to do. I have BD, business development. I got to go review these opportunities, and Emma, and I have to review these opportunities, and Sam. I am meticulous at that. That's why I'm able to get so much done. That's why I'm able to be successful. And that's my goal, is to teach you the same thing, to be successful, enable you to hit the ground running. You know the resources, and you'll learn new things as you go, as you continue to move, because you don't know what you don't know, but you do need to start somewhere. You do need to put the pieces together. Okay. Now, we've did the researching in Elmo. So now let's go to the next slide. Procurement forecast. Now we're going to start on the procurement forecast, just look at it, and then we're going to take our 5-minute break at the top of the hour, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to look at the Excel spreadsheet. We got a lot of stuff to cover. We have a lot of stuff to cover. Okay, so let's go back. Now, we did our research. Now, let's go to the procurement forecast. Okay, so let me close those out because we've done it. And I'm going to talk about the Maryland transparency. I'm going to go back to that one again. Previous, because I have a few little things I wanted to add on to that. Okay, so now the procurement forecast. You've got on the procurement forecast wealth of information. Please check out the video. They have the procurement forecast video. She does an excellent job on explaining how to really navigate that portal, because it's very important that you learn how to navigate the portal. Then she have put the slide deck on there. Then communicating with confidence. Oh my goodness, that was an excellent video as well. And the slide deck, because see, many times people don't know how to do their elevator pitch. I mean, she goes into elevator pitches, how you should pitch to these different organizations, it's a wealth of information. So I always tell you, check out the public data mining strategies, because remember, we came here for the secrets. We came here for the secrets to winning in government contracting with the state of Maryland. So I'm giving it all to you. Now, application is the key. Are you going to apply what you learned today? So I've already downloaded the Excel, which we're going to discuss when we come back from our 5-minute break. But I want to talk to you about these different dials. Okay, so you see they have you the search by agency, search by procurement categories, search by the contract value. This is most important to me because if you've never worked in government contracting, please stay out the millions and the billions, and come right down here where you belong. When you're first getting started, the USM simplified 5,000 to 200. Get your first 5,200, K, right? Or you can do the 100K to 500. But I always, you need to be right here. You need to be at the 15, because what happens is you go after those big opportunities. You win nothing. You're not competitive. You're not ready. You haven't had a past performance. You don't have income coming in. You have nothing. So you have to start somewhere. So start right at the lowest. Get that, then move to the next level. Start with level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. I just want you to be realistic. So you understand your categories, your contract value, and then they're just talking about the regions. You can see the different regions. Then I believe they also did this one, by quarters. So if we know we're working on quarter 1 or we're working on quarter 2, but right now they have it as quarter 3 for the state. So remember, the quarters are different for state than they are for federal. So be aware of that. The quarters are different. They're telling you right here, quarter 1, that means you need to be preparing for everything. July, they saying quarter 1 is July through September 2024. Then, because that's past. So right now we are in January, March 2025. So you in quarter 3. You understand what I'm saying? So that means we want to be moving forward. We need to be projecting how they have it for the state. Now, federal, we know that's October. October quarter 1 starts in October. So that's how it is, federal and state. That's why I say there's a difference. So when you download the document, it's gonna look just like this. And we're gonna talk about this document when we return. But I wanted to show you how the document looks. This is your start. If you're a small business, you don't have a CRM, you don't have a pipeline, you don't have anything, use this. Download it and clean it up and make it look nice. You put your filters on, you put your headers on. We're going to talk about all that when we get back. Then you could sort, because you can see that you can sort everything in the document. So say you're only working on quarter 3, then you unselect and then you select, all of that. So we'll talk about that when we return. But I wanted to show you the things we're going to talk about when we get back. And then, so like I said before we leave, I want you to understand, watch the videos, look at the slides. It's a wealth of information. And then when you go through it, understanding which agency, the procurement category, and if it says to be determined, then it's not ready. So you're going to have to keep looking back and checking every month or every quarter to see if they put any updates, because I'm not aware of how often they update this procurement website, because some agency or people put their information at different times. I really don't know. So that's why it's important to check. And then, so what I do is do the conditional formatting and all that different things. So that way, when it's to be determined, you'll have a certain color. That means I need to follow back up with that. And then you look in during your pivot tables and different things of that nature, which I have my assistant do my pivot tables and all that. So I would love to teach you a training on it, but I can tell you right now, you're going to have to go to you're going to have to definitely go to Google, or you're going to have to go to YouTube to find that different trainings that you're looking for to learn how to really analyze the data and go through the data. So that's why it's important that you really get that. Okay, and at this time, I'm going to pause. Okay, everyone. Now, I had a few questions came up, and I wanted to make sure I didn't miss those questions before I finish with the presentation. So one question came up: do the commodity codes include services also, or are they only physical products? No, it's services also. It's always commodity codes include services. Okay, commodity codes are classification systems, right? They use the categories goods, services for procurement, goods, services for trade, reporting. Those codes include services and everything else. So products, it includes everything. So I just wanted to make sure I did not forget to answer that question because I wasn't sure if I answered it or not. And then I know someone else had asked a question too, talking about the EMA, the NAICS code, and that's for like SAM, because we use commodity codes and EMA, and then the industry code, you'll see the NAICS code in the search box for the industry, yes, but they use the commodity codes for the services. So remember, like for the services, like the disinfectant and different things of that nature. So remember, that's the reason why you have to know the commodity codes for state versus what SAM, you have to know the the NAICS code and the PSC code. So basically the PSC code, like I was saying, product service codes. I just want to make sure you understood that as well. And I was making sure there wasn't any more questions. I think we had answered all those questions, but I wanted to make sure I didn't miss those two. Okay, so I'm going to get back to it. So remember when we were going through the procurement forecast, the importance of filtering the opportunities by the agency you decided to use, and then also filtering it by those categories, those amounts, those thresholds, because you have to get to the first level before you can get to the second. So that's what I want to talk about with the procurement forecast. Now, with the procurement forecast, when you're analyzing the data, be sure to go back to those videos and clean it up. So you can know how to clean up the data really good and what you're looking for. So this is the sheet that's already, so what I do, the first thing I do is sometimes is I format the sheet so I could just look at it better. So that way it's cleaner. And most times all you have to do is just make it into a table. And then that way you can look at it and it's cleaner for you to look at. And then now that you decided to make this your CRM, you make it into a table if you want or not. But for me, because I like to be able to edit the sheet, I want to, and you can do pivot tables and stuff like that. So basically all you're doing is you go in, you just insert a column. You insert a column, then you just call it your CRM, put your date. So today's date, so you know when you pull the data from the state website, because many times you don't know, okay, was this the first one I did or was this the second one? And you just put update, the date you pulled it. And today's date was 1/16 and then 2025, right? You pull the data and you make your own dashboards. What I'm trying to get people to understand, it's so easy to do, but when you don't know how to do it, it makes it hard. And then you just make it big. So you can make it bold. So you would click on that. You would just make it a bigger size so you can keep up with it. You can highlight it. You can do whatever you want so you know the date you pulled it. So then you want to go in and then you want to make these so that way you know that these are the headings right here. And you've made yourself a little sheet. And that way you know, okay, I want to make it a little bit bigger. I want to make this about 16, 14, whatever. And then just clean up the data so you can see everything. Okay, so we're talking about the agency name. And then all you got to do is just hit the format if you want to hit the columns, whatever, and just sort it. You could do whatever so you can read the name. So now you can see the name. And sometimes it'll let you do the things, or sometimes it won't, because you'll actually put the column in there, because I don't want to mess anything up, because when you're doing stuff live, you have to make sure that you don't you don't want it to get frozen or anything like that. So that's why I don't want to do too much on here. And then you rename the worksheet. Rename your worksheet. So this is your procurement forecast pull. This could be, because this is for Q3. So you can put on here Q3, procurement forecast. Okay, so now you have your sheet. This is your sheet that you're using. Now, you don't have a CRM, right? This is the one you started building. Then you go in here and clean it up. Say you only want to go after transportation. So then you go over here and you see, all I want to do is go after transportation, or all I want to do is go after IT. Then what I will do is I will get rid of everything else that is not yours, delete it. Because why keep it on here? You can keep it on there if you want to. You can make a master, you can duplicate it, you can do whatever. But my goal is to show you how to win and get stuff quicker. My goal is to make sure you synthesizing this stuff and you're looking at it and only looking at things that apply to you. We know we're not doing any maintenance. So then you take your time, you go through, oh, I don't want to do any maintenance. I'm not doing no architect. I'm not doing any of this. I'm not, you going through and you getting rid of stuff, because I'm telling you, when you got all that stuff in your way, you're going to look at it and it's going to be overwhelming, because we want to make it so that it's manageable. Everything is manageable. And then you just delete it and you just take your time, go through. And so see, like the construction, they have a lot of construction. You got a lot of IT. You can filter it and all that other stuff. But me, I can do stuff old school. You can find a better way to do it. You can do, and then you see there are other services if you wanted to keep the services. So say we only want to do everything services. And then you got, okay, so then we seen, oh, that's IT. I don't want to do anything IT. So you decide what it is that we're doing, and then that's what you're going to go after. But so for this example, I want to just stick with one thing, because I do not want you getting all upset. I mean, confused, so basically. So then I'm going to delete this, right? And I'm going to keep on, because I'm reviewing it. Mind you, now I'm taking my time reviewing the different procurements out here. I see they got supplies and services, and then I'm going to go down deeper. But I'm looking at the procurement. So what I'm looking at is the agency name. Is it one of my agencies, right? Then I'm looking at, they have a contract number, so I can do some research on it. Then they already told me who the incumbent is. I got two, but this one is an MBE. I'm an MBE. So that one has really caught my eye. I want to, look at that. But then once you go over here and you look, this is a competitive seal proposal. So we already know that's very good. They're already telling you the description. It's going to be traffic and reserve services. So that's why I said you got to go through, take your time, research, and look, is these the stuff that you're buying? What is the categories they're looking for? Anything of that nature. And so now, so let me pull the rest of them out, because I don't want everything in here, because I want to show you how to do it. And then you pull, okay, so then let's go. We done got down here to police services. I'm going to delete that out, because when you finish, you have your pipeline for your procurement forecast. You know what opportunities. Oh, I'm going after the traffic revenue services. Oh, I seen they had a boiler management services. I can do that. Or that one is with maintenance, but I don't want to do that. Or maybe I want to do the air quality control testing, because I have a team that can do that. So like I said, we done pulled everything. So you see when I was telling you about the to be determined. So you go in, you conditionally format everything. That means I got to keep coming back to look and check to see when they update that information. Or I could send an email to this person and ask them, hey, do you know when it's projected? Because they're telling you when it's estimated to be projected, but then some of them don't tell you that. So, or is it still in the beginning phases? So these are some of this is how you walk through the procurement forecast and different things of that nature, so that way you can put it on your dashboard. So now you have all of your services, but I'm not, for the sake of time, I don't want to keep, I got to pick out something so that way I can show you how to go through the whole process. Okay. And then, so we see some of them, we have contracts, some of them we don't. So we decided we only going to do, we're not doing anything in aviation, but if you are in aviation, do you know that's the one you're going to keep? And then you're just going to delete, and you slowly go through the document. You put it on your calendar. I'm going to do the procurement caps review. It's going to take me about 30 minutes to an hour. I'm going to step one, just go through it, pull out things that I'm interested in. And then now I'm going to pull out my little Word document and I'm going to start going through doing the research. I'm going to start, I got to pull my checklists out. I know that I fact, I want to go after this opportunity. And then you start running if you so will, the traps, the bid decision, whatever you call it. So that way you understand that there's a process in place, and that's how you get through it. They're telling you what location it is. They're telling you when it's estimated to be. Let me pull it open so you can see when it's the estimated advertisement date. So that's good for you to know. So now we've done our procurement forecast. We know what opportunities we going after. We cleaned it up. You know, you went in there, you added your little, made it real clean. You added your blocks, you blocked it up, you did everything you needed to do. And now you can use that. So now we got our procurement forecast. Now we need to add our EMA data. That's when you go in and you start putting together your EMA. So these are your EMA opportunities you're going after. You're going to put them on here. So what I do is when I'm trying to build up but this was the procurement, but I just want you to see the workflow of how, because this is where you're going to put them when they finally hit EMA. You understand what I'm saying? So that way you know that, because what happens is you only want to be working on the tab that has your active opportunities you're working. So if you work in only 5 active opportunities, then hide the rest, because it'll just overwhelm you. So I will go in or delete. That's why I was going through delete everything, so that way you can be focused on certain things. So for this training, I'm just going to hide it. But you see how everything's in here. You have to go through this. And that's why I say you have to learn how to filter. And so you would just go through, pick which one you want, or you delete everything else. That's one way of doing it. Or you just go through, hit your filter, deselect everything, and we only want to look at education. And then all of education comes up. So it's different ways you can do things. But once you get that, you're going to have to delete those other documents. That's the only reason why I showed you how to go through other ways. And it's different ways, or however you want to do it. Then you know you focusing on the description. You got to focus on the description. What is it? If vending services, is maintenance services, what is the service? When is the quarter? And then what is the procurement the procurement type, because this is important. If it's a sole source, they're only looking for SBRs. You know, you got to know those different things. And then what is it for Center for Assessments. And then they already told you when the quarter, it was Q1. So that one probably is already gone, because that's when, but you can still check and see if it's viable, because they could have moved it and just didn't update the procurement forecast. So that's the goal, is to get it from here to your new working. And then when it becomes inactive, you will want to put a tab for inactive. So basically, or if you want to just duplicate the sheet so you can keep the titles at the top, and you're not reinventing the wheel, and then you just take everything else off the sheet. It's so many different ways to do it, but the thing is to do it. The thing is to get the document documented, everything out there. So say we found this education, it was Q3 for January, it's out. So let's go back to EMA. So then you will go back to EMA, you will go into solicitations, and then you will go find that opportunity. So now that you know it started off on the procurement forecast, now it finally hit, okay, yes, boom, it's on EMA, we're going after this opportunity. So I'm going to click on another one. I'm going to click on the elevator maintenance services. So now you see the different thing. We have this one had 4 rounds. All right. It's an invitation for bid. It's elevator maintenance services, the motor vehicle administration, right? If that was the opportunity that we were looking at, it was the motor vehicle operation. Then we know who the procurement officer is. They're giving you the information. You find out a little bit about it, and they're telling you there will be a bid conference on January 20. You put that on your calendar. We've been waiting for this opportunity. We found it on a procurement forecast. We built that relationship with that person, that procurement officer. They already know us. They, we've done everything. But say you haven't done all that. but another agency did, that is the person who might win the contract. So you see how it all comes together, how it all flows. You have to have that system in place. So now we went to the pre-bid conference. We met that agency personnel. We met the procurement officer. We liked it. We found us a team and partner because we couldn't do it all ourselves. We have to sub. So we went there to meet at that. Sometimes they're virtual, sometimes they're in person. So make sure if it's in person, you block out some time for that day so you can make sure that you have the time and it's on your calendar, and then it's right. That's why I always tell people when you first getting started, make sure you do local area, like within the 52-mile radius or 30-mile radius or 20-mile radius, so you can get there. But it depends on how far you're willing to go, because I've done the agency research. So that's the reason why I knew this agency was right up the street from me in Ritchie Highway, because I already know I had positioned myself for the motor vehicle administration because they're in my accounts. So now you see, okay, they're in my accounts. They're in the 25-mile radius, boom. So you check that off on your bid decision. So that's how you starting to put all of the pieces together when you're doing these opportunities. So we went there. Now we added this one. This one has been added into our thing. We submitted a response. So that's why I said you have to have a tracking mechanism of how you're doing it, and then your how you walk through the opportunity. So it came from here. Now say that opportunity didn't come on the procurement forecast, you found it on Emma. But what about the people that did find it on the procurement forecast? So they've had that time to position themselves for that opportunity. But if you feel confident, you feel good at it, and you're ready to move to the Emma phase and you want to bid after the solicitation, just use this as a lesson learned. If you win it, good. If you don't, but that's not realistic. Realistically, you want to develop a system in place, because sometimes you'll win it. That's luck. We don't want luck. We want to develop a system in place that we can win repeatable contracts, putting those systems in place. So like I said before, so when you clicked over here, or if you just wanted to put the titles, we just go over here, grab everything over here, Control C, and then we take it on our Emma sheet, Control V, and then we just make everything clean and neat and just put everything over here. So that way when it moves from here, our leads, this is a potential opportunity. This is something we're qualifying. It's in the lead pre-qualify phase. It hasn't made it over here to Emma yet. Don't clutter up your active working profile, because then you'll have stuff in there that you're not working. Then you'll have stuff, because then you got to add those extra columns. So I always talk about adding those extra columns. So let's talk about what those extra columns is. So say you decide, okay, yes, I want to go after this procurement opportunity. So now we're going to put the date. We're going to put the status of the bid. Is it on hold? Is it approved? Did we submit it? Then the pre-bid conference, we got to add a tab in there. So we know these we do not touch. We start adding after this. So, and I always like the color code. Hold on, let me pull it over so you can see. So you'll color code this section right here is the procurement forecast, right? So you'll hit merge, and this is the procurement forecast. So you got your procure forecast, right? That's how you found it. All right. And then you can make that orange if you want. Let's say orange. Okay. We're going to bold it. We're going to make it to about, let's do 14. So now we're going to get into the next phase. That's going to be our active phase. And that's where you can start, because what we're trying to do is automate stuff. We're trying to make stuff so easy that if we have to do it until we hire someone in, it's easy for us to do, and it's easy for us to know what's going on, how many opportunities we got on the pipeline. So then what I did feel that we got a numbering. We didn't even put our number in there. So we know we got to keep up with our numbering. So we know 1 opportunity, 2 opportunity, so forth and on. But you want it to match. So if you change something on here, please change it on here. And you insert, so that way everything is easy. Or, oh, wait a minute, I think I might have missed something when I didn't go. Okay, there it goes. So let me undo. Okay, and then I want to hit insert. Boom. And then you see how it could be very easy. And then you just do 1, 2, 3, 4. So that way everything's matched up. So say I wanted to go after I've moved it from here, I've put it in here. I have 4 opportunities. So then I started adding, we know we in the active phase, working, you call it whatever you want and make it whatever color you want, blue, purple, yellow, because green is when we win or lose. So I always do the green and red. I want to know if I won it or lost it. So we added the column in there for the pre-bid conference. So then we know we're going to do pre-bid conference because we know we have to attend that. And then you're going to add the date. All right. So then say it was said it was 22nd. So we're going to do 1, 22, 25, right? We already know. So then it's coming up in what? How many days is that? Well, let's see, a few days, right? So then you want to make sure you have that conditional formatting set so it'll I can't show you how to do the rules. I can't do all that right now because we're running out of time, but I wanted to make sure you understand the concepts. And then it will flag you to let you know it'll turn green, then it'll turn light green, and then 3 days before it'll turn dark green. And now you know, oh, I got something coming up. So when you looking at your documents, it's easy to come up with, okay, so we in that phase, we're doing the pre-bid conference. Let me move that down. I apologize, y'all. I was rushing. I didn't even put it on the right column. All right. And then I always format. I want everything to look the same. All right. And then, oh, it didn't work. Let me see. Make sure the formatting. It is not working right now. That's how it is when you're doing it live. Everything want to be cutting up, but you just keep moving. All right. So now we got and then whatever color you decided to make that, you'll merge and make that, we'll merge it, and maybe we'll make that, let's make that just another nice color, green, and then you'll call that whatever section, and then you start building out that funnel. You see what I'm saying? So you're building out your funnel, and it's going to be easy for you to do. So now we know we got now when is the response due? Then we got to go in there. And so we know we want to have a response due date right there, right? So then we're going to do response due date, right? So then we know and then you just format it how you want. You can wrap text, whatever you do, whatever you need. So we know. So we'll go back, look at the solicitation and look at the response due date. Now, what date we submitted. So you know we got to put the date submit because we want to keep up with it. Because sometimes you want to set a date. I always like to submit mine a day or two prior. Because the only reason why I don't like submitting too early because of the amendments. They always sending out those amendments sometimes. And then you got to go back and fix it. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's important that you don't submit it too soon. Because then you'll have to go back and do that, right? So then we got, now wait a minute, we needed a teaming partner for this one. So we put the submitted date, right? But should we put, now if we needed a teaming partner, then you think we should add a block in for that, and we'll put that before we submit it if we needed a teaming partner. So see why I say you have to walk through the process, because once you walk through it enough, you'll know, oh man, I should have put teaming partners right here. Did I need a teaming partner for this one, right? And then you put subprime, whatever you're going to do right here. Got it. All right, so now we got that. Now I want to even break down the quarters. I want to know, is this quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3? So then you go in, you'll change that to the money, because, you know, green is money to me. So I'm going to make that money. So then you go right, and then you just keep filling in the stuff. And then, but so you freeze it. So like I said, so now we want to know contract. So say you want to keep it up to a certain amount. You want to be able to see that same everything. Then you just freeze the row. So that way you can see what's going on. So you freeze it up to where you want to freeze it up to. So let me make sure I got my little thing where I want it freeze. And so I can show you. Okay. And then we freeze up to here, we freeze it. So that way, when I'm going over building my sheet, I can keep seeing everything at the same time, right? So you want to be able, because what we're doing is building a system that we can use, that we keep, that we know we're going to continue to use, because it's a way. So we did the procurement forecast, we did the EMA, and then this is the inactive. So you'll do the same thing. Once we decide, if we win it or lose, you pull it off. You put it in the inactive. because what happens, because then you're going to use that's the inactive is what we're going to use for lesson learned. Why didn't I win? And then if I won it, then you want to put all your active opportunities on a page. But this is our working document. This is just a simple, easy way to, everybody gonna have different ways to do it. This is just to spur your mind. This is just to give you the tools you need to be successful, and then you tweak it. Some people use software, some people use whatever they use, but it's a way to do it. So then the last little thing, because we're going to have to move off of procurement forecast and move on, because I have to talk to you still about certifications, and then the Maryland Transparent, and then the COMAR, the Code of Regulations. So I still have, I think I had 3 more slides, but I knew this one was going to take the bulk of my time. So then we know we got 4 quarters. Go back. We're going to merge it. That one is going to be, we can do that one. We can do light green, dark green, whatever you want to green. This is our money. So we know this is where we want to look for the breakdown for each quarter. Okay, for each quarter, right? So we got it. So now this is quarter 1, and then you put those dates in there. So whatever dates was on that procurement forecast, you put it on there so you can know, you can match it, right? So you didn't put quarter 1, quarter 2, and then those dates that they said, and you just pull it over, and then which quarter that money is going to be put in. So let's see, and then you put it, but you can color the whole thing because this is money. You can put the whole thing green. It's up to you. It's however you want to do it. You know, we've already, I forgot to put our little things in there, and so forth and so on. This is how you put together a workflow. This is how you start going, so that way it's easy. Well, say you went to an industry day event and you found out about something that was coming up. Oh man, I should add a tab for events when I'm attending the event, and I'll put that in front or in back, wherever you want to put the event. You put it right here. I'm gonna put events, and I'm gonna call this one event. I found about this event, and I'm gonna wait to see if it moves to the procurement forecast. The thing is, you want all your stuff clean, simple, neat, easy for you to find the data, find the information. And then once you get good at it, then you create your dashboard. And that's the one that goes right here, rename. And that's when you start creating those dashboards. And then that's when you need to learn how to use the pivot tables. And then all these slides will flow into this slide. You'll just hit the view button. You'll hit no grid, because I don't like to see lines. I like my stuff clean. And then I start building my dashboard. So I put it up here. I merge it. That's why I'm telling you, this is just stuff I've learned throughout the years and helping small businesses and do different things. And now I've created me a dashboard, and I want it in all caps. So we say, this is our dashboard, right? And then you want it, man, I want it to be like 48. You see, this stuff can be like, oh, I want a line. So then you go right here, you put your little line, your thick border line, boom, you start the dashboard. Now I want to be able to look at my quarter, boom, you'll make a little section, say your procurement, then you do your EMA section, you can do your inactive section, you can do your event section. And that way, when you do your snapshot and your reviews, it'll be easy. It's seamless. You know, okay, I got 4 opportunities on a procurement forecast. I have 2 active, I'm working, but you have to go in and start somewhere. So put the pieces, and then don't spend all day on it. Just do one sheet at a time. Let's do the procurement forecast. All right, boom, we got that sheet, we got it clean. Now let's build our EMA sheet, our active sheet. And if you got SAM, build your, because see, they're totally different on SAM. So you cannot mix EMA and SAM together, the system of award management, because they have different titles. They have different contracting officers. Keep it clean, keep it neat. You know how many state, and then you'll have one for federal. And then you'll have your dashboard so you can look at all the stuff that you're building. Take the time, build it once. You'll use it for Oh, wow. And then that way you generating revenue. Now you can go get some software. Now you can go do all those other things that you've been wanting to do and so forth and so on. So I didn't want to belabor this, but I needed you to understand the secrets to winning is having a system in place. So you know what's coming up in quarter one. You know what's coming up in quarter two. You know what's been put on hold. You know what's submitted. I had 7 submitted. I have 5 actively working. I have 2 in quarter one. I have 3 in quarter three. You know, that is that's the system. Okay, now you can track, you can measure, you can make business decisions off this, and you've built an active CRM that you can this is your pipeline. I apologize. Your CRM, that's another story. But now you know, because when my clients came in, this first thing I'm asking them, okay, where's tab 1? I haven't even seen tab 1. And then I'm waiting because you still haven't finished tab 1, so we can't move to tab 2, and so forth and so on. So be proactive in them sessions. Get your stuff done. So when you get in them sessions, you hit the ground running. So you know I got 5 opportunities in the pipeline, 2 procurement forecasts, 1 active, 1 inactive, 1 from an event. I need to go back and check on it. All right, so I'm not going to belabor that. Okay, so I hope that was a help to you, how you walk through the flow, how you put it all together. And this was the procurement forecast, how it leads from the procurement forecast to Emma, from events, from word of mouth. Oh, I heard such and such said. I throw it on my leads tracker so that way I can go back and follow up on it. Because if you don't write it down, it don't happen. It just doesn't happen. So that was the procurement forecast. And then this is, okay, so let me go back to the slide so I can keep us on track. So we talked about how to filter, how to build the dashboards, how to do all of that. Understanding the COMAR. Before I move on to understanding the COMAR, I wanted you to understand the purchasing categories. And so that's why I recommended that you go to that website. Let me see if I kept it up there. That you can do the training. What was that? The training. Oh, that was on the other one, but that's okay. I'm just going to go over the information because I want to make sure you get this information. Okay, the purchasing categories and thresholds for a small procurement category is 5,000 or less, and that's like the micro purchase methods. And that award is based off the procurement officer's decision. That's the GPC, if you will, right? That's the government purchase card. Then small procurement category 2, that's the $5,001 up to the 15,000. These are informal bidding process. This is up to, so these are these procurements we'll never see. We'll never see these ones because they don't have to post it. It's when it's 15,000 or more, those are for formal solicitations. So when you're thinking about, let's add a tab for credit card purchases. So when you're thinking about it, let's see, wonder if I can find out who the POCs for some credit card purchases so I can get some micro purchases on my, because this is how you're diversifying your portfolio. You're testing everything. You're trying everything to see which one until you are able to get a formal procurement, which is the 50,000 and plus. That one is written. It has to be written. It's either RFP, the request for a proposal, or RFP, the IFP, invitation for bid. It must be published on Emma. And then what their goal is to always try to get 2 quotes or less. Sometimes you'll see a solicitation get canceled because they couldn't get nobody to bid, or they didn't get the funding. There's so many different reasons why sometimes it'll cancel, but that's one of the things you got to be aware of. And then awarded to the lowest price sometimes, and then other times it's best value, but it has to be responsive and it has to be responsible. So I wanted to make sure I talked about that before I moved on to understanding the COMAR. Okay, and that's the Code of Military Regulations. So why that matters? Okay, because just like with the Federal Acquisition Regulation, the FAR, this is for the state. And why it matters is because it governs the rules and processes, just like the FAR governs the federal rules and processes, and on how you deal with small businesses and set asides. So this is the rules right here. So that's why it's understanding. So the secret is you got to familiarize yourself with those rules, when they can use the small business set asides, and then so that way you know when you can bid on things. So remember this, it's just like with the fire. We have to use the mandatory source of supply first before we can put it out, the opportunity out there for you vendors to bid on. So that's why before, understand it's not that we're not trying to give it to the small business, is we have the mandatory sources of supply we have to use first, and then if we don't get it from there, then we can go out there and outsource it to the vendors. So the first thing they want us to use is the state resources. They want us to either use employees, interagency agreements, or MOUs, the memorandum of understandings, okay, the MOUs. But when we can't do that, then we can use an existing state contract. So that's why I was saying earlier in the presentation, understand all of the agency websites, look at those master contracts and get on one, because they are required to use those as well. So those the mandatory source of supply. The agency has to use those because they're already in place, because those vendors have already been vetted. They've already went through the process, so forth and so on. So that's why it's important that you understand those, because those are the preferred providers, if you will. But when they can't use the preferred providers, that's when the solicitations come in. So that's why it's important that you, if you can, get them certifications, because you want to be able to leverage those certifications. And that way, you seen when I looked at the public solicitations, those opportunities that was up there. And so what you got to understand that is contracting is not about just bidding. It's about those relationships. That's why I was taking you to the staff directory, so you know who's the staff. That's why it's important that you attend those industry days, so you can get there to do that one-on-one, because they have several industry days. So you always keep up with them. And you know, we advertise them on the Maryland PTAC, our training. We're always advertising different events coming up. So make sure you be tracking on that, because when you attend those procurement events and the networks opportunity, because you're starting to see, oh yeah, I would love to work with them. Okay, and these are the people over there. Then you can join those vendor outreach programs. Then you can also build those connections with those primes and those other subcontractors. And so the thing is, you have to research and prepare proactively. These trainings are here to get you prepared and be proactive. All right. Successful contractors in the state of Maryland, they research everything. They research everything. They don't waste time. They looking at the past awards. They're looking at the agency procurement officers, and they're looking at the trends. It's important that you look at the trend. And then they're looking at the Maryland Transparency Portal. They're looking at their agencies. And then I recommend that you set up a Google alert, and also go in on LinkedIn and then subscribe, or I believe it's follow those pages, so you can get those notifications in your inbox, you know, from the LinkedIn, so you can keep up with those different events coming up, and then put them on your calendar. If they do not get on your calendar, you know you're not going to do it. And then most time, the challenges most small business faces, because they lack the experience, they just won't get started. Just get started. I always tell you, start with the low hanging fruit, the low value contracts or subcontracting opportunities. And then if it's a complex requirement, you know you need to partner. You need to start putting some team and database together, and of your teams, who their experience, their firms, do they have proposal writing experience? Because if you're weak in proposal, but you're a SME in that area, the subject matter expert in the area, but you're weak in that area, you definitely want to do that. Okay, so that's why I say understand the COMAR, the Code of Maryland Regulations, because that is the reason why. And the tools we were talking about, using the online tools. I Google everything. I'm Google searching agency specific information, because I'm looking for those networks. I'm looking for who's in the network, who's been there. And then sometimes people don't update their LinkedIn profile. So you just gotta just verify it. So if you do find a LinkedIn connection, just send them a message and verify it. In fact, are you the POC for this? If not, then move on, because you have to verify the you sending them emails, but they done left and went to another agency. So that's why I said, when you get those LinkedIn, sometimes they don't update their LinkedIn profile. So be careful with that. Get on their newsletters, get on their database. If they say go vendor register in an agency, then go register with that agency, so you get those notifications that come straight to your inbox. And then you can just filter all of the invites that come into your inbox into your BD folder. So that way, you know, when I get on my calendar for BD, I'm going to sit down and do those BD. I'm gonna do all my research. Okay, bookmark those key resources we discussed in the training sessions. Bookmark everything, because you're gonna need it. Create a nice, clean, neat folder. Bookmark it. So name that folder Maryland Resources or Maryland Resources and Opportunities. Make sure you keep it clean, and that way you have your SAMs, resources and opportunities, and then you have your Maryland. Keep everything clean and neat, because I'm telling you, it's going to save you so much time. And then, like I said, dedicate that time for regular research. It has to be on your calendar. It has to be on your calendar. If it doesn't get on your calendar, it doesn't get done. And then the last thing, obtaining those service certifications. Always, to do business with Emma, you have to be registered. So make sure you're registered. There, the SBR, the Small Business Reserve. You got the VSBE, the Better Known Small Business Enterprise. You got the DBE and the MBE, the disadvantaged and then the minority. So, but that one takes the longest to get there. And then I'm going to go back to that website so I can show you the register. So you see those different registrations right here. You can find those, everything about MDOT right here. Your MBE too, for the MBE, they have all this information on here. They have upcoming events to help you, walk you through how to do that. They have, so that's why I said there's a wealth of information out here. So you should not feel alone when you doing the different research out here, because as I get ready to close and get ready to open up for questions, because I think we talked about obtaining those certifications. Let's go to the next one. Okay, next steps. Okay, so ready to take action. Take action. Register with Emma. But a lot of you were registered with Emma. A few of you hadn't used it. Few of you were still trying to put all the pieces together. Start researching your agencies and opportunities today. Put it in practice today. And then begin the certification process, because that takes the time. That takes time. And then download the procurement forecast and then review the opportunity. I've showed you how to download it. I've showed you how to review those opportunities and prepare the pipeline. So there's no excuses for not getting this done. You got the tools, you got the resources, you got the training. And then, so what I want to make sure that you understand is when you go in and start putting, because then other questions are going to come up as you're working through building your CRM. So as those, and then you write them down, and then you take those questions in your session. Hey, this is what I've done. Am I on the right track? Or should I do this? Where should I do next? I did my accounts for Department of Transportation. I know what their mission is. I know what their vision is. I've seen their strategic goals. I've seen a couple of opportunities come up for them on the procurement forecast and the solicitations. I've attended a couple of those industry day events. I really like this organization. So now I want to do a capability brief, or I want to meet with the vendor and give them, or the Office of Small Business Program, because I know that's for federal. I can't think of the small business special. I believe it's a small business specialist or a liaison for state. So whoever that person is, but you can reach out to procurement officer. I believe they will let you know about that. They could let you know about who the small business liaison is for those different agencies and opportunities. And as I get ready to close, and open up for questions, and I hope this was informative, is success in Maryland state contracting. It's not about luck. It's about preparation, persistence. You have, persistent, and leveraging the tools that's at your disposal. We've shown you the tools that's at your disposal. And then now you have to put the right strategies. And that is how you unlock the secrets to winning contracts and growing your small business. And then you'll rinse and repeat this in the federal. And so what you learned today is how to be able to navigate through the different things. So when you do go to federal, the same thing applies. You just change the language and put in the federal language, so that way you'll have a system in place. And then one last thing I wanted to tell you about the Maryland Transportation Portal. That one is, download that report. That's what I wanted to tell you, because it just has all that spending data. That way you'll know what procurement opportunities are out there. So that's what I meant to tell you about the Maryland Transparency Portal. So just make sure you download that information. And then it also has the vendor information. Okay. And I'm going to leave time for questions, because I want to make sure. Oh, let me give you the additional resources. So we already know, visit the Apex Accelerator to sign up for a procurement counselor to help you with your small business. Check out the SBA.gov. All their free resources. I'm always on there checking to see if they put something new, and I always send all my clients there, my coaching clients. And then visit Neil McDonald, the president of the GovCon Chambers, LinkedIn Lives, because there's a lot of networking going on. There's a lot of training going on for small businesses, and he just does a wonderful job with the training. So be sure to check that out. The LinkedIn Live, because I stay registering for those LinkedIn Live, because I still can to learn some things, or maybe they did an update or something like that. And I always like to be in the know. So I'm attending everything so I can be in the know. And then now we have our time for questions.
Thank you, Akeisha. Just want to give you a round of applause, because that was amazing. I've never seen anybody use Excel like that before with such expertise. I'm jealous.
And so that was a simple one.
I know, right?
I didn't want to confuse people, so I was like, let me keep it simple.
Okay, so now's your opportunity to ask Akeisha your questions. You can type them out. If there's anything you're not sure about, anything you'd like her to go over again, here's your opportunity. So one question has come in, and it says, can you discuss a little more about strategies when you're reaching out to a procurement officer?
Okay, now the procurement officer, remember when I talked about at the beginning, it's the strategies is you got to know what to say to them, right? Is it a requirement you want to discuss with the procurement officer? Is it something you didn't understand about the opportunity that or is it that you want to give them a capability brief or whatever? What is the reason for you reaching out? Because was it a procurement forecast when you can talk to them? Because once it becomes a solicitation, there's no more reaching out. You have to do the questions, when they have those questioned due dates, or when you have because they can't talk to you, because that's considered giving you favoritism and all this other stuff, and regulations go that we can't. So once it goes into a solicitation, there's no more talking. The only thing you can do is written questions, and then they'll send those questions out and post it so everybody gets the information. Everybody's on the same sheet of music, so they won't been and gave one company the information and not the other. So it depends on the phase, and then the reason for you reaching out. Is it because you want to know if they got an event coming up, or is it because you're just interested in doing business with the eight? Well, that's what those websites for. Remember, the website will give you all the information, their goals, their strategic plans, what coming opportunities. So it's got to be a reason, and that's when you determine the reason. Then we can put the strategy together. But until you know what the reason is, we can't put the strategy together, because the strategy changes depending on what the reason is. I hope that was clear.
Thank you. Okay, next question is, what was the name of the Maryland portal? You said transportation.
You said, okay, you said women's,
But then later I thought it was transportal. I'm not sure if
okay.
she means the MDOT site or
I believe she do. And she might be the Maryland Transportation Authority, or she means MDOT. So I put those links in the notes section. So either way, either one of those links, all of the links are in the notes section of your slides that you're going to get at the end of this session. So that way you can have the correct. Now, the transparency, the Maryland portal, transparency portal, that's the spending plan, if you meant that one. The transparency portal, that's the one for the spend plan. And I put that link in the notes section as well.
wonderful, great.
Mhm.
Next question. Is there an opportunity to check in with the procurement and see where they are in the review and award process?
Okay, so when you say check in, okay, uh, basically is, so that's why I want y'all to look at that communication slide. That deck, that slide deck, and that training that's on the procurement forecast. Let me go right back to it. I want you to really look at this, because we have to know when to talk to our professional, or to check in, or to find you, or get a status update, if you will. You want a status update. So when you're saying you want a status update, it's important that so I want you to definitely go to these slides, go in there. It's easy to do. It tells you how to communicate. It tells you how to reach out. It tells you how to do all of that information, because so many times we don't know. They're giving you the sample. They're giving you everything. Because when you say check in, that means something different to procurement. We're trying to find out if you're trying to get a status update, or you trying to find out, or you're asking the question, can you tell me when the solicitation will be released on the portal? Like, is it still going to be in quarter 2, 3? Because when it says to be determined, you can't keep reaching out to them for the to be determined. You have to keep checking the portal, because if we keep reaching out to them, you have 7, 8, 9, 10 businesses reaching out to a contracting officer. Then it becomes 100. And if they're stopping to answer all these emails or when it's going to post out, that's why they tell you to keep going back, checking the portal, because that's 24/7. But these contracting officers and procurement officers, there are definitely there. What's happening is they're going to get inundated, and then they're not going to be able to work on getting the opportunity put out on the portal. So that's why I said, when you say check in, what do you mean specifically? Are you trying to find out when it's going to publish, when it's going to post? And that's why they tell you to keep checking back on the portal to get the updates, because when they update the portal, they update everybody. But if you got the onesie twosies calling, that's why they want us to really get used to using their websites and learning more about that. I hope that was helpful.
Right, thank you. I have posted a few links in the chat to help you, some further resources with the Maryland Apex Accelerator. And also you can sign up for Akeisha's February class, which is called Crafting a Winning Elevator Pitch for Industry Events and Matchmaking.
Yes.
So you definitely need to be on that one. So yeah, we've run out of time, I'm afraid. So I'd like to thank Akeisha for a fantastic presentation. And I'd like to thank all of you for participating today. Hopefully you will take some of the lessons learned and implement them in your plan for winning contracts. And we hope to see you at a future Apex Accelerator event. So take care, everybody. Stay warm, stay safe. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.